Hello, let me ask you an honest question. Did anyone actually teach you how to handle money? Or did you grow up watching money control people's decisions and emotions? Most of us were not taught money. We absorbed it. We absorbed fear. We absorbed pressure. We absorbed manage it till month end. And now as an adult, we're wondering why money feels heavy, even when we earn more. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't like hearing. Motivation won't fix your finances. You can be inspired today and still make the same money mistakes tomorrow. Why? Because money problems are rarely knowledge problems. They are identity and system problems. That's why I created the Money Click program. Not to teach people how to hustle harder, but to help you understand why you do what you do with money.
It's it's back, bigger and better.
After the incredible success of the last Smart Money Kids workshop, a lot of parents have reached out to us asking for another opportunity because their children couldn't participate. We've heard you and we're making it happen. In case you don't know, your child will not only learn how to save pocket money or learn how to budget, instead they'll learn how to think like entrepreneurs and build a smart financial habit that will last them a lifetime. We just have few slots available and registration will close once the spots are filled up. So what are you waiting for? Register now with the early bird fee of 22,500 naira and secure your child's spot today. Don't miss this opportunity to invest in your child's financial future. Register now.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, and welcome to our Thursday live session. Good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon to billionaires in the house. Happy to have you all here today. So today, we're going to be looking at liabilities dressed as assets, and this is after some of us who are members of the inner circle are just coming from the yard where we received some bad news, and I hope you received it in good faith. Yes, I couldn't miss it for anything because I have girls, right? I have two girls, and that class was especially made for those of us who have girls. All right. So thank you, and thank you so much for coming right here from there. Even though we spent almost 2 hours there, and you still made it here. That's wonderful. I'm really glad to see all of you here today because I was just wondering, we didn't be able to make it, but I was shocked. I just got into the room and I was seeing, I saw Mrs. Ann, I saw Mr. Chris, I saw Dr. Happiness. I was like, wow, people have moved here already, sharp, sharp. We dressed it. So thank you very much, everybody. I saw Madam Elizabeth, I saw Mrs. Emma Bong, and so many other people. Microphone Empress is here as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming right here from the Basbos of the inner circle, right? Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. So, welcome to everybody, Madam Coco, Sally Music, everybody in the house. You're all welcome. Black Mysterio, welcome to all of you. And as usual, we're going to ask you to please, if you're not subscribed to our channel, kindly click the subscribe button and share this live with somebody. All right, share this with someone who has not been here with us. Share this with somebody who you think needs this knowledge. What we're sharing today, honestly, is what a lot of people need. That's what a lot of people need, right? Liabilities dressed as assets. There's a lot of things that we are going to be talking about today that it's the problem of a lot of people in our society. All right. So please just share it to your contacts, share it to your status, right? Just take the next few seconds and share and share. Yes, I heard that too. Wealth is not sexually transmitted. Coach said, Coach Wendy came with bazooka as usual, right? So thank you very much for joining once again. So let's get right into what we have for today. Let's get into what we have for today, right? So please, as you're sharing, let's get right into it. Yes, no dulling. Sharp, 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 sharp. All right. So liabilities dressed as assets. Let's look at how cars, how personal property, how lifestyle upgrades drain our cash while making us look wealth like wealth. That's the problem. A lot of liabilities make us look like wealth, right? But inside, there's nothing. Just like Coach Wendy was talking about people who have 1 million naira here, but they don't have any assets worth 1 million. One of the most dangerous things about money is that financially destructive decisions can look like financial success. I say it again. Financially destructive decisions can look like financial success. You see, a new car can look like wealth. A new wig, bone straight, 16-inch, 0.3-inch long, can look like wealth. Right? A beautiful house can look like wealth. We're going to come to that. Designer clothes can look like wealth. The latest phone, Samsung ZZZ, iPhone 17 Pro Max, right, can look like wealth. It can look like wealth. But the truth about wealth creation is that appearance and financial reality are not the same. They not be the same. See, appearance is one thing, financial reality is another. And that's where a lot of people get confused. That's why a lot of people get it wrong. A lot of people focus on appearance and they don't realize that they've not been creating wealth. Right? So the first question that we're going to answer in this session today is, what is an asset? That's the first question. What is an asset? Right? Because remember, we're looking at liabilities dressed as assets. So what is an asset? An asset is something that has economic value. An asset is something that can produce or can provide future benefits. That's what an asset is. Right? So that's what assets are. But in personal finance, we go even deeper, right? To ask ourselves certain questions that help us answer this question of what is an asset. More questions, yeah. And the question is, this thing that I'm regarding as an asset, right? Does it strengthen my financial position or does it continuously require money from me? That's also how you get to know if this is an asset. It's not just about what is adding economic value. Something can add economic value, but consistently require much more from you. So a productive investment can generate income or it can appreciate over time. That's how you know that an investment is productive. All right. So, but on the other hand, there are assets that we have that are valuable to us, but at the end of the day, they require a lot from us as well. I'll give you an example. A car. A car is valuable. It's valuable and necessary. Right? Yes, Rich Dad taught us that. A car is valuable and necessary. Cash flow quadrant 2 taught us that. Thank you, Mr. Chris. A car may be valuable and necessary, but a car requires a lot of things. A car requires fuel. A car requires maintenance. A car requires insurance. A car requires repairs. A car requires registration. A car depreciates. It requires parking for those of us, those of you who live abroad. And I'm not part of you. But those of you who live abroad, it requires parking space. So please you have to pay for parking. Right? For those of you who borrow, financing costs, you even pay more for it. So while you can have a car as an asset on a typical balance sheet, right? It can also function as a cash flow drain. in your personal finances. You need to understand it. You need to understand where to make the distinction. So, not everything you own is a wealth building asset. A wealth building asset does not take money away from you, it brings money in. But, like I said earlier, most times we focus on the things that people see, and most times they're not bringing, they're taking money out. They're taking money out. All right? Some people will tell you, oh, I have assets worth 50 million naira. You ask them, what's the worth of your what? Do you have assets? They say, yes, I have assets worth 50 million naira. And then you ask them, what's that? Then they will tell you, you see that they have 20 million naira car, 15 million naira furniture, 10 million naira electronics, 5 million naira designer items. That's their 50 million naira. Right? They own 50 million worth of things. But the question is, how much of that is actually producing income? How much of all these things are producing income? How much of them? Yes, thank you very much. Electric cars are better. How much of this things are producing income? But the focus is on the things that are bringing income back to you. How much is appreciating? How much can be liquidated without significant loss? There's no vehicle that you're going to buy today and sell and you will make more money unless it's a vintage. Right? How much requires ongoing spending? There's a difference between owning things and building wealth. You know, a lot of people get it wrong because most times we say wealth is ownership. And they say, oh, this is ownership now. People focus on buying things that are reducing their wealth rather than building it. Right? So a lot of things look like wealth, they are not wealth. You buy a 20 million naira car, people see it and they're like, wow, you've made it. Okay, money has become so bad now that cars don't even, good cars are not even 20 million. You buy an 80 million naira car. That's the range you get good cars now. 80 million naira car. People see that, well, like, wow, this guy, you made it. 80 million. Right? But let's look underneath the bonnet. You may have 80 million naira purchase price. It's possible that you are financing that cost. You still have fuel. You still have servicing. These are costs that are under the hood. You still have to replace and change tires due to wear and tear. You still have insurance. You still have repairs. You still have depreciation that is going to come in the value. So the car is consuming money every month. And if you finance it with debt, it means that part of your future income is already committed. But yet, upon all these losses that you may incur from owning this vehicle, right? The car is communicating success to the outside world. The car is screaming, you've made it. The car is screaming, you have money. Right? That's what it's screaming. I'm just using the car as an example. It's screaming, there's so many other examples. The car is screaming, you have money. But then that brings us to another question. Because somebody might not be looking at the car as, oh, the car is a liability. Right? So we need to be very careful with our terminology. Is a car a liability? A car generally is an asset. Right? Why? Because assets is something you own with value. But financially, a personal car is regarded as a depreciating asset. So we have two types of assets. Assets are all the things you own, but there are two types. There are appreciating assets and there are depreciating assets. A car for personal use, not just any car. Remember, you can have a car for commercial use. You can have a car as a business. When the car is on the road making money for you, it is no longer a depreciating asset. It's an appreciating, it's making money for you, right? It's bringing cash flow. It's not a source of wealth. But a personal car is often a depreciating asset and an avenue for cash flow expense. So it is no longer not productive. And if the car is now financed, it means that you still have loan, right? If the car is financed, then okay, let me take it this way, right? A car that you bought outrightly is not a car you bought outrightly is not a liability. It's an asset, but it's a depreciating asset. But when you finance the car with a loan, that loan is a liability. Do you understand? When you finance the car with a loan, the loan is a liability. All right. So the question here that we should be asking is not really, is my car an asset or a liability? The question we should be asking is, what is this car doing to my net worth and my monthly cash flow? What is this car really doing to my net worth? And that's where the place of affordability comes in. A lot of people take on vehicles or cars or any other assets in this category that they cannot maintain. It's not just about buying it as well. It's about the maintenance, it's about the repairs, it's about every other thing, every other cost that is hidden under, other hidden costs that you cannot see. It's about other hidden costs. Right? Now, the second trap that we're going to look at that are dressed as assets is a house that can become a financial burden. And this is even more complicated. See, a home is an important part of wealth, right? Having a home, owning your home is an important part of wealth. A home, as for you, can provide you with shelter. It can give you a lot of stability if you don't have to be paying rent here and there. It gives you a lot of stability. Owning your home, there's also the advantage of potential appreciation, right? You move away, you're saved from the increased housing costs over time. You have inheritance value, right? But another truth about owning a home is that an expensive personal residence doesn't automatically make you wealthy. It doesn't automatically make you wealthy, right? When the home becomes so big, right, that you're spending so much to maintain it, it can become a problem. Like Richard Foscone, that had a building that had, his building, they said, had over more than 2 elevators in the building, more than 11 rooms. The building was massive. You can imagine what it would cost to maintain such a building, right? So it's not just about owning the building. You also need to be careful about the running costs in the building. You can own a building and you're spending much more money than somebody who is renting out the building on the long run because of maintenance. Here also comes the fact of affordability. Affordability is not just in the buying, it is also in the maintenance. It's also in the maintenance as well. Right? You need to always understand that value and wealth building capacity are not always the same thing, right? Value and wealth building capacity are not always the same thing. Something might be of value to you, but it is not there as a wealth building capacity. It's not as wealth building capacity. If it's always there and it is requiring always a substantial maintenance every time, it can be a problem. It requires security. It requires a very high utility cost. You know, That can also be a problem. So a house can have an enormous personal value, but it may not be the most efficient wealth building asset. So that's why when you're getting your first personal home on your journey to build wealth, make it as moderate as possible. Don't start with a luxury home where you've not created wealth. That's what we're saying. And they're not saying, oh, do not have your house. A house can be very integral. Like I said earlier, it's a very important part of wealth, owning your own home, right? But not a luxury home when you have not built wealth. When you've achieved wealth, knowing that your money is no longer end income, it's passive income, it's wealth, then you can now build that luxury home you've always wanted. But when you now build a luxury home, you just started and you have a eight-bedroom mansion, but you don't have any other assets, the maintenance of that home, of that house, will drain the money you're supposed to use to build assets because you're going to have a very high maintenance cost. So it is not about the purchase, it is about the hidden cost that comes with the purchase as well. Right? Okay. Now, another dimension of this owning a home is the village mansion. That's another dimension of owning a home, the village mansion. Because a lot of us are on the table of owning these houses in the village, right? It's something that is peculiar to our context in Africa, Nigeria especially. You go and build an enormous house in your hometown in the village. I saw a video the other day on the internet. So the lady was showing a very massive house that her parents built, right? They built it in their hometown in Nsukka, in Enugu State. They went there, rats. That one was so bad. Massive building. Rats have taken over the building. The building is dilapidated, and because of the sentimental attachment, the parents try as much as possible to keep on maintaining the building, spending money on the building. Unfortunately, she said the parents can no longer live there because, according to her, that the father, they've never lived there, but the parents can't move there because the father has a health condition that requires him to stay in the city close to where he's getting health care. But the problem is the reason why a lot of people build these mansions in the village. So you build an enormous house in your hometown, in your village, the community celebrates you. They celebrate you, they say, hey, now they know that this one has arrived, this one has money. You've shown us who you are. In fact, once you build it, they invite you for chieftaincy titles. We can see it now. We can see we can see it now. You know, there's a saying in there's a saying in what is it called? In Igbo, they say akuru ulo. It means that when the wealth gets home, so they want to see the wealth in their eyes at home. That's when they know you are wealthy. They see that big mansion in the village. They say, hey, now which title do you want? Which title do you want? Right? Thank you very much. Yes, this comment just caught my attention by Madam Linda Oko. The homeowners in Ireland are building extensions to rent out to students and single people. Yes, and sometimes that's one of the ways that to maintain the building and all that. Sometimes the cost of maintenance can be so much that you need to rent out a part of it if you want to meet up. Right? Thank you very much, man. Yes, so village house must collect always, as always. As always, you build a massive house in the village that you only live 2 weeks in a year. Sometimes, some years, you don't even travel home. Meanwhile, your investment portfolio is very small or maybe nothing. Some people, the only thing they have is their investment put. As at the time they built that village, that house in the village, they had no other investment. That's the only investment they have. And you see a lot of people brag around there. At least I built that for village. At least I say there's the I remember some years back, there's this MVO we have, we just call them, they are drivers anyway in the organization, motor vehicle operators. That's like a baptismal name for drivers. So this particular one, he would come and tell you that he has worked for over 20 years in this job and that he's very proud of himself. He has a house in the village and he's always struggling. I don't know how many houses he moved as at that time where we were working. Because once they increase rents more, he's running. He took everything, almost everything he had, went to the village and dumped it. So in the village, he's an odogu in the village. But in reality, he has nothing. Absolutely, I mean, absolutely nothing. He really has nothing. That's the mindset that is killing a lot of people. No retirement plan. Retirement plan is weak, but you have a mansion in the village. Emergency fund is inadequate, most times absent, but you have a mansion in the village. Your business needs capital, but you have a mansion in the village. In fact, let me even tell you that this mansion in the village thing is reason why a lot of people's businesses have been run down, have run down. And a lot of people that it has drained their business because of pressure to meet up with the expectation of completing the building. They start putting hands into the money meant for their businesses. And like I said, unfortunately, eventually, you can't even sell the house because most times they build the house in the location where you can't sell, you can neither sell nor rent it. You have a mansion in the village, but you depend entirely on your income for survival. Right? The question is not, should I build a house in the village? Before somebody will somehow construe it and get it wrong. That's not the question. You can choose to build a house in the village. The question is, at what stage of your financial journey should you commit this much capital to a non-income producing property? At what stage? So I'm not saying a house in the village is bad. At what stage should you do this? At what stage? Timing matters, purpose matters. Opportunity cost matters. You cannot be at your wealth building stage and you're building a house in the village, a mansion in the village. By the time you have built wealth, you know that you have attained wealth, financial freedom as much as possible. You can build 3 houses in the village. You can build 3 mansions in the village. No problem. No problem. But timing matters a lot. The purpose matters a lot. What stage are you in your financial journey? The stage you are in your financial journey might not be the same stage another person is. There can be another person who is building that mansion. He's at the stage where he has acquired wealth already. Right? But you want to follow, and that will be a problem. That will be a problem. The debt trap, right, of liabilities sets dressed as asset, the debt trap is the trap of personal property. Right? The things that we rarely actually call them liabilities. Right? Just talk about the furnitures that we're always putting in our homes, the upgrade of televisions, the upgrade of phones. They look like wealth. It looks like wealth when somebody comes into your house and they see the latest TV, sunny, sharp. It looks like wealth. Right? Wealth dressed, liabilities dressed as wealth. The phones, the wristwatches, the jewelries, the designer bags. Right? See, a 2 million naira TV is technically something you own, but does it generate you money? It doesn't. Remember, the goal at this stage is not to spend, it is to look for things that will bring money back to you. A 2 million naira TV would not bring you money. In fact, it will consume electricity and eventually you're losing more value. Right? A 2 million naira designer bag can retain some resale value, yes. Yes, it can retain some resale value, but it is still primarily a consumption purchase unless you have a specific business model around it. If you tell me that you have a business model of collecting the bags and then sell them years later or something, then that makes sense. If not, it's primarily consumption purchase. Now, it doesn't mean you should never buy beautiful things. It doesn't mean you shouldn't put the best appliances in your house. But do not confuse consumption with investments. Don't tell yourself when you're buying new TVs and phones and wristwatches that you're making investments. Please do not confuse yourself. It's not the same. It's not the same. When you're buying Peruvian hair, Brazilian hair, Jamaican hair, do not confuse yourself that it is wealth. It is not. When you're importing furniture from Turkey, Italy, Bangladesh, do not confuse yourself that it is wealth. You're not building wealth from that process. You must understand and differentiate consumption from investments. You must be able to do that. Right? At every point in time. When you're importing the best materials for that particular building from China, don't confuse it with an investment. The house you're going to live in, that luxury home, don't confuse it with an investment. Right? Because the moment so far you're living in that home, it does not bring you back money. Because already you're spending more on it than you would have spent on rent in the next how many years. Like I said, it doesn't mean you should not have beautiful things, but there's time for everything. There's time for everything. The problem is that we don't want to follow a process in living our lives. We don't want to follow a process. There's time for everything. There's a time for building. There's a time for enjoyment. There's a time for rest. There's time for everything. The problem is that people want to have 50 years success when they are still 40, when they are still 30, even in their 20s. If we can understand timing, then we can start getting it right. If we can understand process, understand where you are per time. It's a process. Be faithful to the process. If not, you will make a lot of mistakes. You probably you went to somebody's house that their own process, they are almost at the finish line of wealth, or they are there already. And then you see a 10 million naira TV, and that's what you want for you, who is still way behind on the process. That you have the money to buy it does not mean you can afford it. Opportunity cost does not allow you to own it at that time, because that should not be your focus. Timing does not allow you to own it at that time. Purpose does not allow you to own it at that time. A time will come for it, but at the right time. Right? There are 4 questions we should always ask ourselves if we want to be on the right track before we make any major buying, any major purchase. 4 questions we need to always ask ourselves. Right? Before buying something expensive, number 1, ask yourself, does it produce income? See, I mean, if the money you want, when we looked at yesterday at, calculating affordability, if it's up to 25%, if it's from 7% and if it's from 5% and above, right? Remember, for those who were here yesterday, if you were not here yesterday, please go back to the video yesterday and watch and understand what we said about affordability. If it's more than 5%, right, then you need to ask yourself, does it produce income? Can this thing that I'm spending this amount of money on generate cash flow back to me? If they give me money, right? You want to buy a phone that is how much? A phone that is, let's say, 3 million naira. Your whole net worth. Your whole net worth is, let me do the calculation. Your whole net worth is 20 million, for example, and you want to purchase a phone of 2 million. So that is 2 million. So no, so I said 3 million, right? 3 million divided by 20 million. Times 100. That's a whole 15%. Way more than 5%. And we're saying, when you're about to make this kind of purchases that are so high relative to your net worth, this kind of that's too expensive for you. It doesn't matter how much is in your bank account. It doesn't matter how much you think your income will bring you in future. If your whole net worth is 20 million and you're buying something of 3 million, that's 15%. You need to be asking yourself questions. It doesn't, even if your salary is 10 million every month, your net worth is actually what is showing what your wealth is. You have no business buying a phone of 3 million. No business at all. You have no business making any purchase more than 5% for consumption. No business. More than 5% of your current net worth for consumption. You have no business with that. Right? You have no business with that. But in case you make the mistake and you even dabble into it, please ask yourself these questions. Does it produce income? If you buy that phone of 3 million, you go use and make money. Can it generate cash flow for you? Number two, does it appreciate? Does it appreciate? Right? Is there a reasonable basis for expecting this thing to increase in value? Does it appreciate? If it does not appreciate, you have another reason not to justify buying that thing. The value not they increase. If you buy it today, tomorrow you're going to say, how do you know what does not appreciate? Once you buy it now and you want to sell it the next minute, you can't sell it for the same price you bought it. If you buy a phone today for 3 million, you can't sell it the next minute for 3 million. So far you open it, tear it from that pack, the value has dropped. If you go in and get a car, 100 million, you drive it out from there, take it home, the value has dropped. Right? The same person who sold it to you will not buy it back for the same price. No another person. Right? So, number one, does it produce income? Number two, does it appreciate? Number three, does it save me money? Does it reduce significant recurring cost for you? Or is that thing you're buying something that would, on the long run, you go chop you. You go nearly scrape your hair from your head. Number four, does it simply consume money? Right? It will just be just there for consumption. If the answer is number four, it simply consumes money, then call it what it is. It's consumption. Don't confuse it with an investment. You know why I've put out those questions? It's because a lot of times when we bring out that bulk money to make these purchases, we call it investment. We say, I'm investing. That's what we say. That's what we use to justify it in our emotions. Ask yourself these questions. It will open your eyes. It will open your eyes. There's nothing wrong with consumption. Don't get me wrong. Right? The problem is you pretending it is an investment. When you want to consume, open your eyes well. Know that you're consuming. You know, say they chop am. Not that you're consuming. It's consumption purchase. But you're telling yourself, this guy is saying investments. Know the difference. So that you go know what you they do. So you go know say you open eye, they do what you they do. Right? There's this danger of calling everything an investment. There's this danger. Everything they say investments. I just invested in a new car. I invested in designer clothes. Hey, I invest in my lifestyle. They call them investments, right? You know, most times we're using the word investment to make consumption sound financially responsible. So when you call it investment, somebody will not feel that, oh, you're doing something frivolous. They'll say that you're doing well, you're doing well. Say I invested in designer clothes. Make it not look like say you just buy designer. I invested in these wigs. You know, using English to confuse ourselves. Using English to confuse ourselves. They go pay you salary in a month. You will spend your salary in quote investing. Investment when they bring returns. Now English, we're confusing ourselves, right? Let me give you the right vocabulary to use: consumption, asset acquisition, investment, business expense, lifestyle expense. Name that transaction correctly. See, when you name it correctly, you make better decisions. When you tell yourself this is lifestyle expense, then you decide, do I want to go ahead with it or not? When you tell yourself this is the business expense, you decide. When you tell yourself this is actually an investment, you make your decision, right? Name it correctly, give it the appropriate name so that you make the right decisions. Stop calling everything an investment. It will cloud your decision making, your sense of decision making. All right. Another thing that quietly destroys wealth on this our journey to financial freedom is our lifestyle. Always upgrading our lifestyle. Right? See, our lifestyle is where the problem becomes more serious. Honestly, you get promotion, you're promoted, your salary increase from 1 million to 2 million, you move apartments. You move away from your apartment, you upgrade your apartment. Then your car, then your wardrobe, then your holidays, then your children's school. You look for a more expensive school than the one you were paying for before. That was okay for you. There was nothing wrong with it. Right? Just because they've upgraded your salary. So you upgrade everything about yourself. And that's one thing that is keeping a lot of us down. The moment more money comes to you, you find more consumption avenues. And they mostly come in form of lifestyle upgrade. You tell yourself and you see that word, I deserve it. You say you deserve your car is okay. Oh. I'm not talking about somebody who doesn't have a car. You have a car, it's okay. You probably even bought it just a year ago, but your salary has just been increased. You feel to change the car. And one thing that never comes to your mind is to use any of these extra monies that come to you to create more income for yourself. That never comes to the mind. And it's simply because also we are programmed to consume. Yes, every desire must not become an expense. And it is when you get this increase in income, that's when all your desires start remembering them. Start remembering them. So you have a 2 million naira lifestyle that costs you 1.9 million. You have doubled your income, but your financial freedom has not doubled. There are so many of us. Sometimes we need to sit down and ask ourselves certain questions. Ask yourself, when did you start working? For how long have you worked? How much has your salary increased in the last how many years? What is the difference in your wealth growth? What's the difference? Name it to tame it. I love it. What's the difference? What's the difference? Right? That's lifestyle inflation. You have been moving along in life. You have been improving. Your income has been growing for the past 10 years of your life, 5 years, 3 years. But your wealth, your income, your lifestyle has been consuming it all. That's lifestyle inflation. And it is affecting a lot of us. It's killing a lot of us. And it's because that's the only thing in our mind for us to do with money. It's in our subconscious. Already, the money hasn't come. You're expecting that they are going to promote you, but already, the only thing you're imagining to do with that promotion is to change your wardrobe. Is to change your wardrobe. There are certain people that work in certain organizations where maybe in January they pay them lump sum amount of money, right? They pay them some kind of lump sum amount of money in January or some other time in the year. Some people, that money has never done anything useful, although it comes in lump sum. That money is just there to consume and consume and consume. You need to change the trajectory if you want to create wealth. And that's why you're here. You're here to learn it, to understand it, to hear it. Right? So, what's the wealth building alternative? The wealth building alternative to all these mistakes is that when the income increases, right? The wealth building alternative to lifestyle inflation, while the income increases, don't immediately ask yourself, what can I buy? What can I upgrade? Don't ask yourself those questions. Don't think of your wardrobe that you need to buy. Don't think of moving from 13-inch hair to 16-inch hair. Right? Don't think of moving from a sedan to an SUV. Ask yourself, how much of this increase can I convert to productive assets? How much of this increase can you convert to productive asset? How much of it? How much? How much of it can you convert? How much of it have you been converting in the past? Right? If your income increases today by 500,000, instead of automatically spending all the 500,000 which you have been doing before, make a different decision this time. Decide that the significant portion, not all, a significant amount of it will go into investments. Or if you already have a business, put it into business expansion. Right? Put it into investments targeted towards your retirement. Put it in emergency savings, emergency funds. Right? If you have debt, put it towards debt reduction. One of the things that still wow me is how people are in debt. I'm talking about huge debts, but they are having money come their way and they are still thinking of what to go. They're not thinking about the debts at all. They're not thinking about reducing their debt. They're not thinking about paying off their debts. For debt, we are coming. That's what September is about. September is about debts. We will talk debt style. You will run away from hearing me talk about it. Right? Make a different decision. Decide that the significant amount of that money will go into education that will increase your earning capacity, skill acquisition, skill development. Right? Then enjoy the remaining parts. Did you get my point? Let a significant amount go into productivity. Enjoy the remaining. That gives you balance. Remember, there's something I'll always tell you. You have the fun part of you, right? That you must always satisfy. But you must satisfy it planned within boundaries. The problem is that we've let that fun part of us overtake all of us. So all we are thinking at every point in time is to enjoy ourselves, to have fun. We are over satisfying it. So I'm not saying you shouldn't satisfy the fun part of you because it will always show up. And I've said something, I said it in the Money Click, and I will say it here for those who have forgotten, right? Because I may not remember it again. I've said this before. I've said that when you don't satisfy the fun part of you, it will explode. You will explode someday. So let's say you're that person that you never have fun, you never enjoy yourself in any way, you never, all you do is work, invest. A time will come that you will become fed up. And when you do, the reverse of everything you do is what is going to happen. You will dump everything, focus on that enjoyment, and you will drown in it. So what did we say? We said that you should have a little portion reserved, planned for enjoyment. All right? You should have a little portion planned for enjoyment. There's something we call the look rich tax. Look rich, yes. There's something called the look rich tax. Yes, the fund account. Thank you, Mr. Chris. There's something we call the look rich tax. Let's talk about the look rich tax. Right? There's an invisible tax that a lot of people pay. I call it the look rich tax. You pay it when you buy things to impress people. You pay it when you upgrade because your friend just upgraded. You pay that tax when you spend because you are afraid people will think you're broke. So you buy things you're not supposed to have. You don't have business with because you don't want people to think you're broke. You pay that tax when you borrow to maintain an image. Instead, maybe like say, make I borrow, make I use borrow, cover my shame. You pay that tax when you attend events, even though you can't afford to attend those events. You pay that tax when you go and have a celebration beyond the capacity you can afford. You pay that tax when you build beyond your financial capacity. Will you pay that tax when you constantly replace perfectly functional possessions? Your car that is working, you replace it and you get the luxury. You pay that tax. Right? The thing about that tax is that nobody sends you an invoice. Nobody. But your bank account pays. There are consequences in your bank account. There are consequences in your bank account. Right? So we must be wary. We must be very, we must be wary about the look rich tax. A lot of us are trying to look rich and it is killing our wealth building process. So you see, another thing that is affecting us, all of us as a society, is one statement. What people will say. What do people say? What do people say? People will say I'm broke. Beware of people who say, beware of it. Beware of it. See, the moment you cannot, or you start telling yourself, people will say, just pinch yourself small. Just know that there's something going wrong. Oh, people will say I'm broke. People will say I've changed. People will say I can't afford those things anymore. People will say I'm no longer generous. People will say my car is too old. People will say I used to live better than this. See, because of what people might say, you will spend money you should have invested. If you believe in people will say, if you hold on to what people will say, you will spend money that you should have invested. Will those people pay your retirement bills? Will they? Will they? Will those people pay your children's university fees? Will those people fund your emergency funds? Will those people repay your debts? They will not. So why are you giving them control over your financial decisions? Why? The moment you justify something with what people will say, they are the ones deciding what you're doing with your money, no longer you. No longer you. Why are you giving people that much power? Why are you giving that people that much power over you? Why give people control over your own financial decisions? So because of what they will say, you now make decisions that you're not supposed to. We need to be wary when we are telling ourselves what people will say. Let people say what they want to say. Stay on your journey of wealth creation. And you see, on this journey of wealth creation, wealth is invincible. They know they see am. It's one of the hardest lessons that you have to accept. They won't see what you're building, they won't see it. Just like the book that we're reading currently in the Money Click. Sorry if you know the Money Click. The book we're reading in the Money Click. Right? See, a wealthy person can drive a modest car. Yes. Person when don't get money, somebody who is financially fragile, not really broke, can drive a luxury vehicle. I've seen people that, see, if you carry them, shake them like this, nothing really go come out, but they have luxury cars. A luxury car is not an evidence of wealth. You cannot determine net worth from appearance. You can't. Stop focusing on the appearance. See, you cannot see somebody's investment portfolio. You can't. Yes, the billionaire next door. You can't. I was having a discussion with someone. I think this was some months ago, and she told me the amount of dividends that her parents received. The parents live here in Abuja. They received dividends in the tune of about 80 million dividends from their stocks investments. Nobody this year. Nobody saw when they were making those investments. Nobody saw. They cannot see your investment portfolio. They can't see it. Even if you have buildings that are bringing you money, they can't see it because you're not carrying the building everywhere to say, I have this building, oh, this is my house, so it pays me rent. Oh, I have this apartment too. I use it for Airbnb. I collect money from it. They can't see it. They can't see your emergency fund, how strong it is. They can't see your business equity. They can't see your insurance. They can't see your estate plan. They cannot see it. Even when you have debts, they can't see it. So stop using visible consumption as your definition for financial success. Stop. Right? So what is the real wealth scorecard? Instead of asking yourself, what do I own? Ask yourself, what is my net worth? Net worth is how you know your wealth. Your net worth. Assets minus liabilities. Right? Then ask yourself, how much of your net worth is productive? Which means in your net worth, right? How much assets do you have that are generating income? How much assets do you have that are capable of meaningful long-term growth? That's number one, productive. Number two, how much of your net worth is consumptive? Right? How many of the things you have in your net worth are there now primarily there to provide personal enjoyment or just utility? How many of them? Number three, how many are liquid? How many of your assets can reasonably be converted to cash? Number four, how many are debt funded? How many of these things did you acquire from borrowing? And number five, how many are concentrated? Right? Do you have too much of your wealth tied to one asset or one business? You need to understand. You need to understand what is really making up your net worth. And do you know why I've listed all these things? It is because your net worth can be negative or positive. Remember, right? It can be negative or positive. Your net worth can be in the negative. I've seen people that their net worth are in the far negative. So ask yourself this question: whether it is negative or it is positive. How much of it is productive? How much of it is consumptive? How much of it is liquid? How much is debt funded? How much is concentrated? Now let's look at the 4 levels of ownership. The 4 levels of ownership, right? There are 4 levels of ownership. Level 1 is consumer. You buy things. Level 2, saver. You retain money. Level 3, investor. You acquire productive assets. And level 4 is wealth builder. And that is where you're headed. Level 4. Right? A place where you build the diversified system of income, of assets, of businesses, of investments, of protection, like we talked about yesterday, of legacy. The goal is not to stop consuming. No. The goal is to ensure that consumption does not prevent ownership. Keep consumption within boundaries. Keep it within boundaries. Right? Jesus said in Luke 12:15, life doesn't consist in an abundance of possessions. It's a very, very, very powerful financial principle that was released there. Your life is bigger than your possessions. It's bigger than that. Possessions are temporary. Legacy is bigger. Purpose is bigger. But what will take you to legacy is not just about possession. What will take you to legacy is about building. Right? So, as a wealth builder, there are certain questions that must be in your mind always. Right? Stop asking yourself, can I afford this? That's not the question of a wealth builder. That's not the question a wealth builder asks themselves. As a wealth builder, some of the questions you should always ask yourself is, will this thing I'm about to buy make me financially stronger? Or will it make me financially weaker? Or just financially neutral? Understand the implication of everything that you're putting your money in. You need to know the opportunity costs. Ask yourself, what is the opportunity costs? If you spend 10 million naira today, what else could 10 million naira have become? That's opportunity costs. If you spend 20 million naira today, what else could that 20 million naira have become? What else? Maybe that 20 million naira would have become part of a business. Maybe it would have become part of a building that you would have co-owned with someone to start up an Airbnb. Maybe it could have become real estate or education or retirement capital in a stock investment. Or maybe it would have even gone into your emergency funds that you're going to be housing somewhere in a money market. Right? See, the purchase might be worth it, but you need to know, at least, you need to know you're making the decision with your eyes open. Use your clear eye do. I'm not talking saying you don't know what they do. That's why you're here. So if you're making the wrong decision, you know that yes, I open eye do. It's your choice. Right? It's a choice. It's a choice. So the last thing I want to tell you today is you need to incorporate what I call the asset autopsy. The asset autopsy. You need to incorporate it. So I want you tonight, if you have the time, or weekend, I want you to go through everything you own. For every major possession you have, I want you to write these things. One, what did it cost me to acquire this thing? For everything you think you own, the major ones, the big ones, what did it cost me to acquire this thing? Two, what is it worth today? Three, does it generate income? Four, does it appreciate? Five, what does it cost me every month? And then six, the last question, why did I buy it? Ask yourself, why did you buy it? I'll go over it again. Number one, what did it cost me? Number two, what is it worth today? Number three, does it generate income? Number four, does it appreciate? Number five, what does it cost me every month if it requires maintenance? And number six, why did I buy it? It's because you need to understand. Did you buy this thing because you needed it? Or because it created value? Or because you just wanted to look successful? You need to understand and be truthful to yourself. And when you find out the reason, don't judge yourself, learn from it. So, in closing, because we'll fast spend our time. See, a car can be useful. A house can be valuable. Read my words. A car can be useful. A house can be valuable. A beautiful watch can bring you joy. A good phone can improve your productivity. Mhm. A vacation can create memories. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. The problem starts when your lifestyle grows faster than your wealth. That's the problem. The problem starts when the watches are increasing faster than your wealth. Yes, I'm bringing the asset autopsy here as bonus, and also to emphasize on the money tip of today. That the problem starts when your lifestyle grows faster than your wealth. Don't become poor trying to look rich, please. I say it again. Don't become poor trying to look rich. Don't spend your future trying to prove your present. Don't allow possessions become the evidence you use to measure your success. Because a luxury car is not financial freedom. A mansion is not financial freedom. Designer clothes are not financial freedom. A high income is not financial freedom. Financial freedom is having enough productive assets, financial capacity, and wise systems to give you choices. So build assets, build businesses, build investments, build skills, build relationships, build financial discipline, build protection. And yes, enjoy the life that you're building. Enjoy it to the fullest. Enjoy it within the confines of a boundary. Always remember, don't let the things you own prevent you from owning the things that create wealth. I'll say it again. Don't let the things that you own prevent you from owning the things that create wealth. Right? Because it's not about how wealthy you look, it's about how financially strong you're becoming. That's how we'll come to the end of today's class. Thank you so much for staying put to the end. Thank you for staying put to the end. Thank you to each and every one of you for remaining to the end of this class. Right? Like I said earlier, while I was speaking, I made mention about the asset autopsy, and that's the assignment that was given today in the Money Click program. Right? So if you are not in the Money Click, you won't really even have a very deep understanding of what this asset autopsy is about. And that's why we're also inviting you to join the Money Click. It begins to make more sense to you when you're in the Money Click, when you're following our money tips, when you're reading the books we're reading. When you come to classes like this, it makes a lot more sense. When you're not in, some things will say you might not really understand because you're not in. Because the truth is, this class might be open to all, but it is meant for those who are in the Money Click program. That's the truth. Those are the people who get to understand it better. Because sometimes we're just using this class to re-emphasize on certain things that we're teaching in the click. So join the Money Click. Like Madam Tony George will say, if you know join the Money Click, you go blow. You go blur. It will really blur. If you don't join the Money Click, it's gonna blur. So please join the Money Click program. Join the 2027 Money Click program of the Naira Academy starting up January. Let's go start up the January 2027. Right? If you're not in, please try as much as possible to get in. If your children we also have an opportunity for your children to learn. We call it the Money Click Kids program, where we teach your children for a whole year, right? And they get financial literacy classes for a whole year. And we're also joining you to bring your children on board. The truth is, some of the things we're learning today is because we never had the opportunity to learn them all through our lives up to now. Give your children the advantage you never had. That's what the Money Click Kids is about. It's about giving them that advantage that you never had. All right. And then we also are inviting you to bring your children. This is the final call for the batch 2 of the Smart Money Kids workshop, right? And it's starting on Monday, right? And it's going to be more fireful than the last one even, right? So please bring your children to join us. If you want to join any of those programs or services, please just reach out to any of the numbers on your screen, to any of the admins, and we would give you all the information that you need. Give you all the information you need. Just reach out to any of the admins in the house for the Naira, any of the TNA admins. I will reach out with all the information. Just write a message to any of us and any of the admins and tell them what you need, and they give you the proper information that you require for it. Right? So thank you. Remember, the Smart Money Kids Workshop is that workshop, right? Where your children learn things in the most practicable way possible. Trust me. It's something it's one experience you want them to have. Ask people that their children were in the first batch, right? You cannot really tell until your children experience it, trust me, right? And what's the workshop about? It's about entrepreneurship. Yes, that's the focus of the workshop. It's about teaching them entrepreneurship. It's about them understanding how to make sales. So they will make practical sales. It's about them understanding a whole lot of things, being able to pitch about their businesses and a whole lot more. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. This is where we come to the end of today's session. Thank you, and thank you once again for staying put. Thank you for staying to the end of this class. It's a pleasure to always teach here. My name is Chukwemeka Onyenezi. I'm the founder of the Naira Academy. I hope to see you again on Wednesday. Remember, we're always here Wednesdays and Thursdays, right? Wednesday, 12 noon, Thursday, 12 noon, we are here, right? And in the Money Click, we have our master classes in the January cohort, second Sundays of every month. In the March cohort, we have it on the third Sundays of every month. Thank you so much, everybody, for today, for showing up. Hope to see you again next time. Have a lovely weekend ahead. Bye-bye.
Guy, have fun now.
Omo, I'm not really fine. Do you know they paid me last week, and right now I can't even boast up to 10,000 naira in my account?
Seriously?
Yes.
Did you budget?
Which one is budgeting? I'm not a politician.
That's when your money is missing like NEPA light.
But I didn't buy anything serious, shoes, bags, the thing that guys need now. And just like that, fiam, the money has disappeared.
But it's all these little things. That's why it's taking your money.
But what should I do?
See, you have to create a budget. You have to track your spending. You have to prioritize your needs over your wants. And you have to save before you spend, not the other way around.
So what you're trying to say that this money management thing is no child's play?
It's no child's play at all.
The Money Click is an annual financial literacy program to help you up your money game. The Money Click is not just about money, it's about mindset. So in the Money Click program, go beyond budgeting to rewire your thinking, to rewire your mindset, to change your thinking about income, to change your thinking about money management. So we'll help you grow your income, we'll help you manage it, we'll help you invest with confidence. Money is not just about what you know. Money is more about how you behave. And every day in the Money Click programs, what we'll try to do is to influence how you behave about money. This is not just financial education. This is financial transformation. I will hope to see you become a part of it. Thank you.